Okay, so this video, as you can see, the title is straightforward. I'm just going to get straight into it. Basically, why I left corporate for trade work. Now, two things I want to kind of start with is uh, I I've been out of corporate for almost a year now, and I won't say who I work for, but I work for a fairly reputable company. And I was based in London Bridge offices, and my role, my field I was operating in was the digital slash web, right, field, and that's quite can be quite broad. So I'll just say my last three job titles. So my last job titles was I was a digital operations officer, I was a web manager and a web developer. Um, yeah, which was web manager and web. So I was a web developer, then became web manager in that same role, and then before that was a digital marketing executive. Um, so and these were for three different companies, by the way. So those are my last three roles, basically, just to give you an idea of where, when I say the digital, web space, where I was operating in. And so next thing I wanted to mention as well was when I say I'm leaving, I left corporate for trade work. I'll just be clear and say that although I say trade work, I'm not actually in trade exactly right now, but I'm doing the necessary. For example, I'm doing the training courses to essentially go. Well, I actually took my CITV test, which unfortunately I failed. By a few questions, but it is what it is. Took my CITV test. Then I failed it first time. Then I went to, and the CITV test, guys, is for those that are trying to get into engineering, basically, right? The engineering space, right? Um, I then booked another one, which I forgot my ID, so I couldn't actually, just basically a complete waste of money. For those that are looking to do it as well, just this is just a side note. CITB test, right, that you need to book it. Make sure you're booking. I forgot the I'll try to put it in the description if I can. The actual website, because when I was looking into it, I wasn't actually told this is the official place you can go to get, to do the test and then get a certificate, whatever. I booked it, went to this place, I forgot where it was, in Limehouse, whatever. Only to, obviously, when I failed, I then rebooked it, went to another place this time because I finally found out the actual official place, and then they told me that, oh, don't, the amount you paid, which was more, I paid more, like double. In the other places, like the amount you paid shouldn't have been how much you paid. You should have paid what you're paying now, which is £22, something like that. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know this? When you just key it into Google, that's what comes up, isn't it, for CITB? So that was my bad as well. So, but just wanted to let people know that are looking to do that. It shouldn't be anything over 20. Let's just say £25. It shouldn't be over that. Anything of that nature, then they're not trying to bump you, because if you do the test and you pass, they're going to give you a certificate, but it's just not from the official place. But the test that they give you is still applicable, right? You can still use it to get your CSCS card, and the CSCS card, guys, is what you use when you start applying for engineering roles, whatever. They basically want to know that you've essentially qualified, right? So that CSCS card lasts for 2 years period. But anyway, just look into stuff yourself. This is stuff that I looked into myself, stuff my understanding. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to, take this as gospel. I'm just letting you know. I'm just giving you the info right now, so you know why I'm doing this video and where it's leading to, right? So, um, trade work right now, I'm not again, I'm not actually doing it right now, but I'm gonna book my test. I know, I'm very confident. Gonna, fly past that so I can finally get my CSCS card, and then start looking into the specific engineering space I'm looking into, which is HVAC, right? HVAC being heating, ventilation, air conditioning, that whole area. So, whether you're dealing with heating systems, whether you're dealing with refrigerators, or that's the stuff I'm looking into. There are various guys. I was talking to an electrician not too long ago about this, and he was saying how there is a big demand, for trade work right now because they don't have enough people. So if those of any age right now are just going into trade. I remember going to go and do both of my tests and just see. Well, no, the first one specifically. And sorry about the light. I don't know if I can what I can do with it about this, guys. It's a bit too much as well, isn't it? Hopefully that's okay. Let's just, yeah, let's go. Um, yeah, people of all ages kind of coming, and I realized that I think this is something that many people are trying to go into. It's a very bright, my bad guys, people are kind of go into, because I think for me, it's very clear people are realizing that when it comes to the I guess the corporate field, things are becoming more and more limited for various reasons, but the main one being, AI and so forth. So anyway, I'm going to go into this because I want to really I want to make this, I want to build it up and ensure that every topic I touch on is chronologically, touched on, as opposed to it just being all over the place. Because I could, as you can see, me with the channel, I digress a lot. So me going into corporate. So first off, let me say, first of all, I want to say that my last job specifically, I want to say my last corporate job, I want to thank, the company. Again, I won't name them, but very big, reputable company. My seniors over there, my superiors were great. The support they provided, the opportunity, the training stuff I was able to, get over there was, I can't thank them enough. You hear many people say stuff about how they worked with, I don't know, previous superiors of theirs, and they've just basically it's been a terrible experience for them. That wasn't the same for me. In fact, the person I'm talking to right now, that what I'm talking about, I told you I was leaving. I wasn't going to anywhere else. I wasn't there lying to you to go and find, my way into another corporate, a bigger and better, because the grass is greener type situation. No, I told you I'm leaving, and I told you why as well. So I'm just letting you know that's basically what it was. Since then I've just been doing part-time stuff here and there, not anything serious, because my head is not there anymore. Really, it's not. It's for various reasons, which I'll touch on in this video. But yeah, I just want to just thank my old employers. So anyone that's seeing this, they'll know that it's real. It was. I was definitely being. I'm not. You can say I'm not. I like to try to be as transparent as possible. So I definitely was feeling burnout, and that's one of the reasons as to why I left corporate, which I'll get into as well, basically. But it was great there, and thank you guys. And yeah, I will say that one of the good things about where I worked was you will find that a lot of companies, especially because I got in, I think was it 2022 I was there. Yeah, around I left. Yeah, 2022, end of 2022, roughly September, I believe. I left there, and sorry, I got there, and you'll find at the time, around these times anyway, guys, inflation was rampant. So it was very hard for people to find or to receive automatically more pay, right? So they're basically the salary gets increased, what I'm trying to say, right? Where a company reimburse you more, well, not reimburse you, but actually increase your pay, right? Increase your salary because they're trying to keep up with inflation. It's just stuff that I know that me and my colleagues were always happy about, because we got that. Me personally, it was neither here or there for me. I was indifferent to it due to the fact that my financial position, which I'll go into again, there's many stuff I want to go into, guys, but just work with me. My financial position allowed me to be able to not really. I wasn't really too fussed about my salary. I just knew to myself that this is somewhere that is going to guarantee me a certain amount of money, so I can, keep on working towards whatever I'm trying to work towards. Everyone's got their own goals and objectives basically in life. So for me, that's why I didn't really notice, that they were increasing our pay, but they would, they will send messages to us letting us know whatever, because of right now we're trying to help people in these tough times. This was back in 2022, guys. These guys are, as I'm saying, that's just why, I can't ever, say anything bad about my last employees that I worked for. Anyone that's there, yeah, that know me, be like, oh snap, yeah, he's telling the truth. You can now tell people, but I'm not gonna say on here who I work for. I'd rather not. But you hear many people say that, yeah, I just I'm not getting paid enough, basically, and we're getting more and more work is being put on our plate, and it's just it's just not easy. It was the same for us as well. Well, for me, specifically for me. And that's one of the reasons, guys, as to why it made sense for me to step away. Now, had I not, I'm very aggressive, right? when it comes to my finances, right? When it comes to saving, investing, whatever, I'm very aggressive basically. So I I built myself a solid financial base, solid financial buttress where, yeah, I knew to myself that if things got on top and I was feeling too uncomfortable, I'm not gonna just up and leave without anything, any safeguards. No, I made sure that I was okay, basically, and that was due to my finances. There's various areas you can safeguard yourself. You can safeguard yourself by having friends and family that are gonna be happy to put you up for some time. You don't have to pay. That is one area. Another safeguard is you might have a side hustle, which is earning enough for you to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to step away and live with my side hustle for 3 or 4 months, basically. That's another safeguard. For me, my safeguard was, yeah, I'm very, very, very hands-on with my finances. I've got spreadsheets, whatever, making sure that everything is, above board. I'm ensuring my outgoings ain't, surpassing my incoming. So what's coming in. So as a result, I think they say, is it 3 to 4 months? Is it 3 to 4 months of is it rent money, or is it salary you need to have before you want to, if you step away and try to take a break, you need that amount. For me, it's, if I'm being honest, I had at the time, right, when I left, I had probably around, this is going to sound ridiculous, probably 5+ years of it. Now, because of how things are panning out, and things come into play, life is being lived, it's probably, I have like 3 years towards it, but I have years of this, again, because of how I structure um, my financial situation, portfolio, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, I don't worry about these things too much. I'm able to pivot um, aggressively, and I've always wanted that freedom, because people talk about freedom a lot, but that's one of the freedoms you probably want in life, is, or the more, or the first, because there's different, to me anyway, there's different levels of freedom, right? And the first hurdle I would say for freedom is being able to pivot yourself from a work standpoint, meaning you could just switch work, a job or fields, right, and not worry too much about your finances, because you know to yourself, I could just start low in this next field, start low in the in the low basement and come up, because I already know my finances are good. I think that's the first hurdle, is making sure that um, your financials are great. The next one might be personnel, people you know. So if you now pivot, you can go into, you've got somebody to, that's why they say, what is it? References are very important. Some people have that in abundance, basically. So you could pivot easily. But for me, references could be you need to make sure you have those relations, whatever. And that's, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm amazing with people. I'm somewhat of a, um, I like to keep myself to myself. I don't really have much, friends and so forth like that. I'm not, that much of a, I can be extrovert, but I won't say I'm an extrovert. Does that make sense? And I think that's for many people. We are eclectic in our personality. You could be, you can surprise somebody, and people might think you're one way, but for me, I had to make sure that my finances were okay, and that's what I really focused on. So as a result, I've been able to pivot, right? So now I've now entered. Now, I mean, even now it's more like, even as I'm working my way towards mm, um, trade work and being able to be cemented in it, I am I am I, I am just doing just part time stuff, right? So, and that's, and because I've got you know I'm able to do it, and again, there's no there's not too much pressure, there's not too much worries. I'm not having sleepless nights, whereas I know the economy right now is terrible. So I'm not going to be the one to be telling people, oh, just do what you want, do how you feel. Like, don't keep yourself in a terrible position if you're not, if you don't want to, if it's not making you feel great, guys. Make sure you're right. There's many people that will tell you on that. I just want to quickly digress. I have to blame the channel. Name. There's many people that we want to do this, guys, right? Oh, they'll listen to people that are saying that, oh, I just made a decision. I had no plan, whatever. I just took a chance and it worked for me. Some people are lying to you, because that's either the two things. Either they're lying to you, right? Or they were the lucky ones. the majority of people that do this, they just want to just jump out with nothing there, protect, no safeguardings. The safeguardings I mentioned, none of them safeguardings at all. You have none of those three. You're finished. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for anybody. You are finished. So don't listen to these people. Know your situation. Know that, okay, I don't have this in place. I don't have, I don't know, family that will just put me up for free and have me be there for 6 months. I don't have that. So I'm not gonna just, no, I have to suffer this out. Unfortunately, I know it doesn't sound great, but guys, life can suck sometimes. It's the ones that are able to get through that suckness, why that suckiness, are the ones that be able to tell stories and tell you, this is my triumphant stories. So don't be fooled by people telling you just take the leap, whatever. You take the leap, you might drown. Like these people they got another boat to jump into. References. You see what I'm saying? How all this connects? References. They have somebody that can just go, yep, come into this boat here. So now they're jumping online telling you this and that, not knowing that, bro, they have help. They have help. If you don't have these safeguards, don't do it. I have to quickly digress on that one. Please don't do it. Like, know your situation, right, and act accordingly upon that said situation. Please, okay? All right, so let's move forward. So, corporate, I guess that's one area, right? Another area I wanted to touch on, right, in I guess the reasons why it was easy for me to step away from corporate was the I just had it. Oh, man, this is what happens. This is what happens when you digress too much. Give me 2 seconds. So I've mentioned, well, I guess I mentioned about the workload. I think I mentioned about the workload. Really, many people were having that as well. Well, I mean, yes, I guess so. I've not actually mentioned it from my side. So the workload was the other one. That's what I noticed as well, guys. I noticed that the workload that was being put on, the amount of work that was being put on my plate didn't necessarily correlate with the money that was, that were being remunerated by. So although I said my company was, great at this, they didn't even ask us. They would just raise our wage in an attempt to keep up with inflation. But it wasn't really enough. So for me, it's okay. You're doing this stuff and whatever case may be. They're also telling you to look into basically have you pivot, maybe go into a more senior role, whatever the case may be. But then you're doing courses, you're doing training, whatever, but while you're also trying to hold down what you're doing already, your role already. I'm not blaming them for doing this because they have to try to figure it out somehow, because it's not easy, like to basically for any, not people, not just people, businesses, to make money, make profits, because that's what their bottom line is. It's about their bottom line. They need to make profits. So they're just trying to find the best way to do that in the most economic, in the most economic procedure, in the most, in the most economic way, pretty much. So they just gave me the work, and I was realizing the burnout. Probably the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. The juice was not worth the squeeze because you're naturally gonna get burnt out, guys. But you got to look at it as that, okay, is the burnout, is the pay being given to you worth that? Is it you're if you're not being paid enough, right, and you're feeling the way you're feeling, then you're gonna start to hold resentment, right? And it's gonna come across, and you're gonna be doing things. You're gonna have your energy within the workspace isn't going to be great. That's not going to be conducive to you now wanting to get more money, get promoted, whatever. It's going to affect your position. You're going to be affecting your work, and these type of things. I remember when I had a talk with my my senior at the time, great person, like I said. I have to tell him the truth, man. I'm like, I don't think my head's in the game anymore. I just don't think my head's in the game, and that's because you know, my financial portfolio was, it was looking, you know, things go up and down now, you know, very volatile markets right now. If those are in the markets, you know, I ain't gonna explain it, but I want to stick to the topic. Told him, yeah, you know, just I'm just not there. You know, there's certain stuff I'm over, what's the word? I am is oversight, right? So I'm just overlooking things, right? That I shouldn't be. This is basic stuff. It's not like, you know, some, like there's some stuff that will do that will be quite, need to be a bit a lot more technical. But some of the stuff that I'm, oh, you know, that I'm making mistakes, and it's like, what, what's going on? Are you, you know, is things all right at home? You know, this type of question that, you know, people are gonna ask you, but it's not. It wasn't that. It was just, I just realized that there's so much stuff on my plate. There'll be times where I'll go on holiday and I'll come back, because I'll go on 2 weeks. I'll be away for 2 weeks. I'll come back thinking to myself, yeah, I needed that. I needed that re-energizing, right? I need to get re-energized, and I needed that basically, right? Only to come back and I'm dreading. But most people do think that way as well, so it's not, you know, thing, but not for me. Like, I knew to myself, this time I'll be like, okay, yes, I'm now refreshed. I can now come back, and it wasn't the case, you know. So, and again, this kind of ties into the whole, don't just leave, guys. If you're not all the way, because there was times when I kept on thinking to myself, no, I need to leave, I need to leave. But that stretched on. Me thinking I need to leave, I need to leave, I need to leave, I need to leave, stretched on into months, like 9 months plus. So, but that's because I knew to myself, I need to just get a bit more out of this before I can say I'm stepping away completely. But I need that, because that security from corporate is something you don't want to let go of, right? That financial security, and as well as job security to an extent, even though they can, I guess, let you go at any time. But knowing to yourself that they can't just let you go like that, they need to give you a notice period, just how you give them notice periods of whatever, you know. Oh, we're gonna let you go, so we're gonna give you, I don't know, a month, 2 months, whatever, so you can plan at least. That security is great, because when you're looking to trade work, so that's one of the advantages I'm going to give there. I'll just be going back and forth like this basically, as opposed to just, because I knew I was not, I knew I wasn't going to follow the timeline. I wasn't. I'm kind of talking off the cuff here. It's more like unplanned, which is me just trying to follow a systematic approach, basically. But that's not the case. So what I'll say is, with the corporate, right, there is security there, where you know to yourself, there's job security in the sense of, I'm going to have it for as long as, I guess, you could say you want it to an extent, as long as you don't do anything that is deemable as getting fired on the spot. You're gonna have it. You're gonna have there, and you're doing your job to a, you know, a good enough standard. It's gonna be there for as long as you want it. The only thing that's gonna rush that is, you know, your company's adoption of AI. You know, how and how aggressive they're adopting, you know, AI into the core of the business. But due to the fact that that's not the case right now, and people still have time to an extent, then things are moving very quickly. Yeah, you've kind of got that job security, that financial slash job security. Whereas in trade work, sometimes you could be sitting out for some time, waiting for something to come in. You know, sometimes you know, it's been good. For example, because I actually speak to service people, like when I'm, you know, out and about. I actually take my time to speak to them. In fact, I've actually done, because I create content. So I've done a video about servicemen, you know, and the work being done basically. So essentially, the idea for me was to gain as much information as I could, basically, and that's exactly, you know, what they gave me. They gave me information about basically, you know, what they were doing. Some are doing, you know, asphalt laying, you know, making sure, ensuring the roads are, I guess, removing potholes from roads. Some are doing fiber optics, you know, talk to fiber optic technicians that are, you know, replacing copper, you know, materials being used for Wi-Fi stuff. They're now using, you know, new age fiber optics to make stuff speed, you know, to increase the speed. This is the reason why we get, you know, great Wi-Fi, internet, whatever case may be, right? These people are doing the work that we don't actually notice these people. So these jobs, they kind of these guys were explaining that there's times where they have, great, um, they have great periods where 3 months they can be given a job that's a 3 month contract, getting paid, amazing, which means technically for the next 3 to 6 months they don't even have to work. Anything that comes in, they could just do it, and it's up to them, right? They could basically do it or turn it down, essentially. So whereas in corporate, that's not there. You need to, your holidays need to be need to run through your superior, to basically, so they can basically say that, yep, we're happy with that. You can go on holiday. These things are not required in the trade area, which is good and bad, right? Because you get to pick your holidays, you get to pick when you work, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, there's no financial security. There's no financial guarantee that, oh, I'm going to be okay definitely in the next 6 months, because they might not hire you. Especially if you're doing contract work. If you're working for a company, that's more likely they might be a bit more structured. When it's essentially you being self-employed, you got to do self-assessment and stuff like that. So you got to look into, in ensuring that you know how to do these type of, doing your own tax, doing when they ask you to do your own, self-assessment, you need to report, your tax correctly, because if you don't, you could be penalized and so forth. On the corporate side, they take care of the stuff. You don't worry about tax, none of that stuff. In fact, if you, I don't know, if you have uni basically debts, whatever, once you start earning a certain amount, they start taking, small amounts once you start getting paid, because everything's all tied into HMRC, so they know that you're working now, so they could. Whereas when you're doing trade, you have to report this stuff, and if you don't, you need to be careful, because you might get penalized, and it's usually money. So these are like differences there, So you got to be very, very careful when going into it. Please know what you're going into. Don't just up and decide I want to leave, whatever. Know what you want to get into, but just understand that there's various areas, right, and to get into, and you'll find that some trade positions, the barriers to entry are low. So for electricians could be high, but for HVAC stuff, which I'm looking into, it's low. So if you get into that and you get a trainee job, that's one of the advantages, is that trainee jobs within trade, you get paid. It's very rare they don't pay trainee jobs, whereas in corporate, man, years ago, this was years ago, they used to do stuff like that, where any white collar job, basically you get into a internship, apprenticeship, they pay you. That's almost pretty much gone. I don't think it exists anymore. So when you're looking into that space, that is one advantage that trade work have, is that you're going to get paid as a trainee. So that's going to hold you out, especially in this economy. It's going to ensure that you are okay, even if you're not an expert, or you're not at a level in which you're going to be getting, serious pay. They're at least they're at least compensating you, right? You don't get the same in corporate, because they kind of want you to be the finished article nowadays. It's just ridiculous. They're asking for this, that, and the third experience here. You need to have this skill level. You need to have, these connections, and you need to have this person to be able to reference you. It's just too much they're asking for in corporate. It's just, once again, me stepping away from corporate is because I felt the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore. So even if I'm doing, interviews now, like, even when I left, I was applying for a few jobs here and there, part-time stuff. Some of them I just didn't want to just do the interview. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Some of them I'll go through the first interview, they're telling me to come back for the next one. I'm like, no, this is not. So have you let me, because I actually have the experience. What are you doing? This lets me know you have too much capable options, right? Too much capable candidates, and you're not going to just like mess us around by, let's now meet the person, see if we can get along with it, bro. No, that's another area I'm saying corporate. It's not that, it could be very difficult. So yeah, I mean, maybe I should make a part two, because I don't want to make this video too long, but these are the things as to why I left corporate and I'm looking into trade work. Pretty much I'm going to get into trade work. One thing I would say trade work people need to be careful of is the atmosphere. So, being out there, the elements, right? When it gets really hot or cold, it's great when it's in the middle. When it gets hot or cold, man, you suffer. So please be ready for the physicality of trade work, right? Yeah, because and then some people are maybe scared of heights. Some people don't, are maybe claustrophobic when you're going into like undergrounds, whatever. All these things play a role. But I'll say for me, I think one of the things that I enjoy is knowing that my potential work, is going to help future infrastructure. Well, the infrastructure now that's going to, help for people in the future to be able to, continue what's being done. So I'd like to know that my work is my actual work I was done are foundation layers. I've laid some foundations. So that's one thing I'll say that I like. But yeah, I might keep this short for now. I'll see, what anyone, if anyone's got any questions about anything I've said here, or if you want me to, it depends on what this, what this video does. If I see, it looks like, there's been good viewership, people want to hear more, I'm likely to go into more, deeper topics. But for now, I'll keep it short here as to why I left corporate, and yeah, do with the regular stuff people say, comment, like, subscribe, let me know, and see you in the next one, guys. Take care.